In the middle of a dusty military camp, Garrison Cook stood out among the soldiers. He was known not just for his strong stance but also for the warmth in his heart. With a sturdy frame and piercing blue eyes, Garrison was a sight to behold, his uniform neatly pressed despite the long days spent training and marching. As whispers of battle echoed through the camp, many soldiers were filled with fear and uncertainty, yet Garrison offered them hope. The air around him was often heavy with tension, but he would always find time to help others. Whether it was sharing rations or lending an ear to a worried comrade, Garrison's compassion made him a beloved figure among his fellow soldiers. They knew they could turn to him when morale was low or when nightmares from battle crept too close. On one particularly tense morning, as the sun began to rise over the horizon, Garrison prepared for another long day. The camp was alive with sounds, the clank of metal, the chatter of recruits, and drill sergeants shouting orders. Yet there was something different about today. Suspense hung in the air like a thick fog. Little did he know that this day would change everything when a young boy, frightened and lost, would soon seek refuge in Garrison's kind-hearted presence. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting long shadows across the camp, a figure stumbled into view. It was a boy, no more than 15, with dirt-streaked cheeks and wide, frightened eyes that darted around, searching for safety. His uniform was tattered and his hands trembled as if they had just escaped a nightmare. This young soldier was a deserter, having fled from the chaos of battle. The deafening sounds of gunfire and the sight of fallen comrades had become too much for him to bear. The boy's mind raced with memories, screams, explosions, and the haunting image of his friend collapsing beside him. He had joined the army full of dreams of heroism, but quickly found himself lost in a world of fear. He couldn't shake off the feeling that he didn't belong there, that he wasn't ready to face such horrors. With each step into the camp, he felt his heart pound louder, fearing capture and punishment for his choice to escape. In desperation, he sought out the kitchen, hoping it would be a place to hide. That's where he first spotted Garrison Cook. The boy could see kindness in Garrison's eyes, a flicker of understanding that gave him a glimmer of hope amidst his overwhelming fear. As the boy huddled in a shadowy corner of the kitchen, Garrison Cook entered the bustling space, the aroma of fresh bread and sizzling bacon filling the air. He noticed a slight movement near the back wall and paused, sensing that something was amiss. Garrison's instincts kicked in. He had seen enough fear in his fellow soldiers' eyes to recognize it instantly. He approached cautiously, his heart full of empathy. When he spotted the young deserter, trembling and wide-eyed, Garrison knelt down to his level, making sure not to startle him. "Hey there," he whispered softly, offering a warm smile. The boy flinched at first, but then saw the kindness gleaming in Garrison's blue eyes. It was a different kind of bravery, a willingness to listen, to understand. Garrison quickly swept his gaze around the kitchen, ensuring no one else was coming. The mess hall was filled with clattering dishes and cheerful voices, oblivious to the tension lurking just outside their door. In that moment, he knew he had to act quickly. "You're safe here," he said gently. "Stay close to me. No one will find you." As Garrison prepared food for his fellow soldiers, he made a plan to shield the boy from their prying eyes, turning the kitchen into a sanctuary away from the threats outside. Here, amongst the comforting scents and busy chatter, he felt a flicker of hope spring up against the gloom of fear that had engulfed the young deserter. As the sun broke fully over the horizon, the camp came alive with the sounds of reveille. A sharp bugle call pierced the morning air, echoing through the ranks of soldiers still groggy from a restless night. The camp's atmosphere shifted from sleepy quiet to a flurry of activity. Men scrambled to put on their uniforms, lacing up boots and adjusting hats as they prepared for formation. Outside the kitchen, Garrison could hear the rumble of voices rising in excitement and anxiety as soldiers gathered in tight lines. The clinking of muskets being lined up against the mess hall door resonated through the camp, each sound a reminder of the order and discipline expected in military life. Garrison felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He knew that with each moment, the risk of discovery for the young deserter grew heavier. The tension in the air was palpable as soldiers stood at attention, faces set in determined expressions, but beneath that bravado lay an undercurrent of fear. The boy in the kitchen sensed it, too, his heart racing at the thought of being found amid the hustle of morning rituals. Garrison kept glancing toward the door, ready to shield the boy with his own body if needed, all while maintaining a calm demeanor to provide some comfort to his frightened companion. The stakes were high, and time was not on their side. As Garrison stood in the kitchen, the sounds of morning formation echoed in his ears, creating a storm of conflict within him. He wanted to help the boy, whose terrified eyes pleaded for protection, but the strict rules against desertion weighed heavily on his mind. Garrison was a soldier, bound by honor and duty, yet he felt a pull toward compassion that was hard to ignore. He thought about what would happen if the deserter were discovered. The punishment for desertion was severe: loss of rank, disgrace, maybe even imprisonment. Garrison did not want to betray his fellow soldiers or the values they fought for, but how could he turn away from a frightened child who had already faced so much trauma? As soldiers outside marched to formation, their boots pounding like drums in Garrison's chest, he felt torn between loyalty to the army and empathy for the boy in hiding. Garrison's heart raced as he continued to weigh his choices. Could he risk his own safety to protect someone so vulnerable? He knew that standing up for the boy might cost him dearly, but turning his back felt equally wrong. The internal battle raged on as he sought a path forward, a way to uphold his own morals while navigating a world that often demanded silence over compassion. Garrison's mind raced as he considered the best way to help the boy escape without being seen. He knew that time was running out, and they needed a plan that would allow them to slip away unnoticed. The kitchen was bustling with activity, but Garrison noticed a back door that led to a small alley behind the mess hall, sheltered from the main thoroughfare where soldiers gathered. "Listen," he whispered to the boy, who was still trembling with fear. "We can get you out of here. There's a door at the back of the kitchen that leads outside. It's less crowded, and I'll make sure no one sees you." The boy's eyes widened with a mix of hope and apprehension. Garrison quickly formulated a plan. When the bugle sounded for morning drills, he would distract the other soldiers by spilling a pot of water across the floor. The commotion would draw attention away from the back door, giving the boy a chance to slip out. "Once you're out, head towards the trees," Garrison instructed, pointing in that direction. "Keep low and run fast. Don't look back." He felt a surge of determination knowing he could help this child find freedom. As he prepared for the distraction, Garrison took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. He knew that this small act of bravery could change everything for the boy hiding in his kitchen sanctuary. As Garrison prepared for the escape, he spent quiet moments in the kitchen with the boy, attempting to ease his anxiety. They shared stories, Garrison talking about his own childhood dreams of adventure and heroism, while the boy recounted snippets of his life before the war. His laughter was hesitant at first, but with each story, a spark of trust began to flicker between them. Garrison learned that the boy had once been a farmer, tending to animals and crops, far removed from the horrors of battle. His innocence resonated with Garrison, who saw a reflection of himself in the boy's youthful spirit. They both longed for peace and safety, bonding over their shared hopes of escaping the harsh realities surrounding them. In those fleeting moments, they created a bond stronger than mere companionship. It was built on understanding and compassion. Garrison felt protective of this young soul who had faced so much fear. As they whispered in the dim light of the kitchen, Garrison reassured him, "You're not alone anymore. We'll make it through this together." The boy's eyes glimmered with gratitude and newfound courage, realizing that a sliver of hope still existed amidst despair. Their friendship blossomed in that small sanctuary, a reminder that even in chaos, trust and kindness could thrive, offering both of them a reason to fight for freedom and a brighter future. As the morning sun continued its ascent, the sense of urgency in the camp intensified. The bugle's call for reveille loomed closer, and Garrison could feel the tension radiating from every corner of the kitchen. He glanced at the boy, who sat quietly, eyes wide and filled with a mixture of hope and fear. Each sound outside, the rustle of uniforms, the clattering of equipment, heightened their anxiety. Garrison's heart raced as he thought about the colonel's men, who would soon conduct inspections, their sharp eyes searching for any sign of disobedience. He knew that if they spotted even the slightest hint of a deserter, it would spell disaster for both him and the boy. The weight of this risk pressed heavily on his shoulders. Outside, soldiers gathered information, their voices blending into a cacophony that echoed across the camp. Garrison could hear them laughing and joking, unaware of the life-and-death moment unfolding just steps away in the kitchen. He swallowed hard, steeling himself for what was to come. Time felt like it was slipping through his fingers. With each second closer to reveille, Garrison's resolve solidified. He had to ensure that nothing went wrong during their escape plan. This was their chance, a fleeting moment to move from fear to safety, and they had to seize it before discovery turned hope into despair. Just as Garrison felt a moment of calm settle over him, the kitchen door swung open with a creak that sent a jolt of panic through his body. The colonel strode in, his presence commanding and intimidating. Garrison's heart raced as he quickly glanced at the boy, who was frozen in place, eyes wide with fear. The colonel's sharp gaze swept across the room, and for a heartbeat, it felt like time had stopped. Garrison stepped forward, trying to appear relaxed while masking the tension coiling in his gut. "Good morning, sir," he said, forcing a casual tone into his voice. The colonel nodded but didn't respond, instead focusing on the bustling activity around him. Garrison's mind raced as he calculated his next move, knowing that any slip could reveal the boy hiding just a few feet away. The colonel began to inspect the kitchen, his footsteps echoing ominously on the wooden floor. Garrison's pulse quickened with each step he took closer to the boy's hiding spot. In a split-second decision, Garrison grabbed a nearby pot and pretended to adjust it over the stove, blocking the boy from view. The colonel paused, eyeing him suspiciously, and Garrison held his breath, praying that his ruse would be enough to protect the child from discovery. Seconds felt like hours as Garrison maintained the facade, desperate to ensure their escape plan remained intact. In that moment, everything hinged on his ability to shield the boy from the colonel's scrutiny. As the colonel continued his inspection, Garrison felt the weight of every second pressing down on him. He held his breath, hoping that his distraction would suffice. Just as tension reached its peak, a loud crash echoed from the other side of the kitchen. Another soldier had accidentally knocked over a stack of pots. The colonel's attention shifted instantly, drawn toward the commotion. Seizing the moment, Garrison quietly nodded to the boy, signaling him to slip out through the back door. The boy hesitated for a heartbeat, but then darted toward freedom, motivated by Garrison's silent encouragement. Garrison focused on maintaining his calm facade, turning to face the colonel with a facade of confusion and concern. "Sir, is everything all right?" he asked, feigning innocence. The colonel grumbled about the clumsy soldiers before barking more orders to keep everyone in line. Meanwhile, Garrison silently counted each moment until he was certain the boy was far enough away not to be caught. As tension in the room began to dissipate, Garrison felt an overwhelming sense of relief wash over him. He had acted against military rules, but in doing so, he had upheld his moral values and protected an innocent life. His courage and quick thinking allowed the boy to escape, reinforcing Garrison's belief that empathy should prevail over rigid rules in times of crisis. And for that moment, in that chaotic kitchen, Garrison Cook realized he had done something truly heroic. As Garrison stood alone in the now quiet kitchen, he reflected on the events of the morning. The thrill of having helped the boy escape filled him with a sense of purpose and warmth. He realized that true bravery wasn't just about facing physical dangers on the battlefield. It was also about making difficult choices when it came to compassion and friendship. In a world often ruled by strict rules and harsh consequences, Garrison discovered that standing up for someone in need could be the most courageous act of all. He thought about the bond he had formed with the young deserter, a bond forged not just in shared fears, but in their mutual longing for safety and freedom. Despite the chaos surrounding them, they had found solace in each other's company, reminding Garrison that even in the darkest moments, friendship could shine through. Garrison understood that this experience would shape him forever. It reinforced his belief that empathy could thrive even amid conflict and uncertainty. As he prepared to return to his duties, he felt a renewed commitment to protect those who could not protect themselves, no matter the cost. With every heartbeat, Garrison Cook recognized that courage wasn't just about personal glory. It was about standing together and supporting one another when life demanded it most.